Hey, hope you're doing good. Now, in today's video, I want to talk about AI appointment setters and answer the question that everybody wants to know. Are they actually as good as people say they are, or are they just a big scam? Now, before you go ahead and kill me in the comments, because I know there's a lot of people that are obsessed with these AI dialers, just please hear me out, okay? So, my name's Sebastian. I spent the last 2.5 to 3 years in the appointment setting space myself. I've been in the trenches booking appointments myself. I've hired people. I've trained people. I've shown people how to do the very thing that I'm doing. I've consulted, coached people every single step along the way when it comes to booking appointments, from doing it myself to helping other people do it and scale it inside of their business. I've done it for the past 3 years, generated millions of dollars for clients. And essentially all this to just say that I've been in the space for a long time and I know the appointment setting space very, very well. So when I look at an AI appointment setter, I can really tell if it's good or if it's not good. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's actually go over the AI appointment setters. So are they really as good as they say they are? I mean, the first reason why I wanted to look into this is because, like I said, I've been in the appointment setting space myself for a very long time. So if I'm going to lose my job, I'd rather just know in advance, right? And see what I can do. And then the second reason is because after all this time that I spent in the space, I've built a lot of connections, a lot of friendships. I know a lot of people, right? And a lot of people inside of my network have been working for some of these companies that sell AI dialers and AI appointment setters. And what I've noticed is that, wouldn't you think it's kind of weird that those companies are hiring human appointment setters when they're literally using or they're selling an AI that books appointments? If the AI is actually that good, why would they need to hire human setters, right? Isn't it kind of weird? Well, that's the same question that I had, and that's what made me want to look a little bit deeper into this. So the conclusion that I kind of came down to is that the AI setters are good, but they're not necessarily good enough to replace good human talent. There is a place for these AI dialers and these AI appointment setters, and I'll talk about that in the end. But first, I want to talk about why they won't necessarily be able to perform as well as a human appointment setter. And again, before you go crazy, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I'm literally just, I just want to analyze this topic because a lot of people have this question. So one of the main things that AI dialers and AI appointment setters are lacking in is they're lacking in human interaction and empathy, right? They can't necessarily understand humans just like an other human can. They can't understand empathy, right? And feel somebody else's pain. That's what empathy is understanding somebody else's pain. Robots, AI, they cannot necessarily understand that, right? A lot of the times they're struggling with complex objections and with complex situations. So inside of conversations like in the DMs or on the phone, they're struggling with handling complex objections, something that a human being could do a lot better. For the most part, what I'm seeing with these AI appointment setters is they're having really, really basic conversations. So they're going to talk to someone, ask a couple questions, and then it's going to be like, hey, do you want to book a call? And that's it. It's very, very basic conversational skills that literally you could pay a VA that has just a little bit of knowledge in English language, and they could handle all that themselves. They're not necessarily trained on selling the appointment and helping convert people into appointments. They're more so there just to kind of help people that want to book an appointment kind of automate the process of sending them a link and following up with them. So it's very basic stuff. It's not necessarily gonna increase your conversions and make you, book a ton of sales calls. It's really just super straightforward. It's for people that are already wanting to book a call. It's just like a chat bot that's gonna respond to them and send them a link. So overhyped, in my opinion. The third thing is intuition, right? It's something that human beings we have, right? You know when the right time is to ask a girl out, right? You know when the right time is to ask for the call, right? In this instance, when we're talking about appointment setting, you know when it feels right to just go for the appointment and go for the pitch. That's something that AI cannot necessarily understand because they don't have this human intuition, right? This sixth sense or whatever you want to call it, right? That you develop, especially when you're an appointment setter and you've been trained and you have experience. It's something that you understand very, very well. I believe AI cannot necessarily understand it very well. One of the other things is voice technology is lacking right now and tonality is off a lot. I've listened to a lot of these appointment setters. I was listening to one just earlier now, And man, the tonality is just off a lot of the times, man. There's weird pauses in between the sentences. Now, the reason why I didn't put this in the beginning is because ideally this would be fixed, right? This is definitely going to be improved with time, and the voice technology is going to get better and the tonality is going to get better. So it's not that big of a deal, but right now it's definitely not there, right? So I just felt like it's something I had to include. Another thing is it really struggles to understand nuance and sarcasm, right? So it takes everything literally. If you kind of play around with it and you say something sarcastic, a lot of the times it's going to answer literally. It's going to believe that it's not going to understand humor or sarcasm. So that's another big thing that makes it stand out that it's an AI, and people are not going to trust you after that or book an appointment. Sometimes it's going to respond to incomplete sentences, and it's not going to read between the lines. So again, it kind of comes down to like nuance. It won't necessarily understand the nuance and read between the lines. And a lot of the times it's going to answer to incomplete sentences. So if you send texts in multiple, like I know when I want to send a long text, I don't send just one huge text, but I'm going to break down my text in multiple different messages, if that makes sense. So I'm going to send one sentence, then another sentence, and another sentence. Well, if you do that, the AI is just going to respond before you have the time to send out your second message. So it's not going to see that like you're typing. Or on the phone, I'm not sure if you guys have had AI like voice chat with OpenAI, like ChatGPT. A lot of the times you're halfway through your sentence and the AI thinks that you're done talking. So it's going to start responding, but you're still like you're not done speaking. So it's going to do that sometimes, which is kind of weird. And I don't know if and how this could be fixed. But yeah, that's just another thing I had to point out. It always needs to be refined, and it only acts on what you train it on. So that's a very big thing, right? So if you, as the person creating the AI, don't have any data, you don't have any insights or any frameworks for how to set appointments. So if you just start a business and you take this AI appointment setter and you don't have any knowledge for how to train it, you don't have any knowledge and skill around appointment setting, then you cannot just expect to put the AI into your business and it's going to start booking a bunch of sales calls. That's not how it works. You have to train it. You have to give it like data and frameworks and something that actually works. And if you don't already have that, so if you don't have the experience, you're not going to be able to do that, right? And if something happens, like a new scenario that it hasn't been trained on, then it's like the system just breaks, right? Like it won't know what to do, it won't know what to say, and it might just say something stupid, which might just hurt your reputation. I'll talk about that a little bit later on. Another thing is people are very cautious nowadays, and they're aware that these appointment setters exist, like these AI setters exist. And a lot of the times they try to mess with these systems. Like they won't even take the conversation serious because they know this is an AI setter. I've seen this myself when I was booking appointments and I was doing appointment setting, and I would follow up with people so relentlessly that people literally thought I was an AI and they would try to mess with me. They were like, hey, are you an AI? I would say, no, I'm not. They would be like, come on, stop. And they would just say a bunch of random things to just try and make the AI break when I was literally a human being. But that just makes you, like, that just shows you if it was an actual AI, then people would not be taking the conversation seriously. So yeah, if you actually have a human being on there, then you can avoid a lot of that BS. So yeah. Another thing is if people know this is an AI, like if they realize it's an AI, some people, they might be okay with it, but a lot of the people, they're not going to feel okay with it, right? Like they'll feel like they're just being productized and they're just being sold to all the time. They'll be like, I'm not even talking to an actual person. It's literally just an AI that's been trained to sell me. And a lot of people, they might think it's not very genuine. It might hurt your personal brand. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, especially if you're using this on your personal profile or something on IG. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It can kind of hurt your reputation, right? Another problem, very big problem, is bugs, right? We all know this, like software, there's bugs, right? There's gonna be problems. I have a friend who's super huge on AI. He's automating his entire business with AI, and one day, like the servers for OpenAI went down or something for 30 minutes, and literally all of his automations stopped working, right? A bunch of leads fell through the cracks. They were not being reached out to. All of this because the servers went down, and this can happen at any single moment, and it can completely break your business, right? The same thing goes for bugs, right? If there's a bug, leads might not be getting messaged, they might not be getting replies, and until you notice, like, who knows how much money you might have lost, right? Unless you're constantly there checking on it. But then what's the point of automating something if you constantly have to check on it, right? I would argue having a human appointment setter that actually knows their job and they've been doing it for a long time and they have experience, I would argue they need much less checking on them. Like, you don't need to check on them as much. Once they know the job, they've been doing it for a long time, they can really just perform, and you can let them do their own thing. Whereas with AI, you're constantly going to have to check on it. Is it doing well? Are there any bugs? Do I need to refine it? Do I need to change something? Is it sending random messages? Do I need to fix it? Right? You're constantly going to have to check on it and fix it and make changes, right? And then the last thing is it might send some BS messages and hurt your brand or reputation. Ideally, it shouldn't send anything too ridiculous, but again, because it doesn't necessarily read between the lines, if somebody says something sarcastic or whatever, and it gives a completely random response, it's going to hurt your reputation. It's going to make it obvious that it's AI, and ultimately, it's not going to achieve its goal of booking you appointments that convert into sales. So that's kind of the reason why we have these. So I believe all these, I mean, there's enough reasons why I believe having an actual trained human setter that can perform is just a better idea. Now, if we're talking about someone with no experience, someone that's just a very bad appointment setter, can AI outperform those people? Probably yes, right? If you're just lazy or if you're not good at what you do, it can probably outperform you. But if we're talking about a good killer appointment setter, I believe it's very hard to beat that even with AI. Now, I'm not going to lie, AI is not all bad, right? There are a couple really good things about AI, and some of the two main points where AI really wins as opposed to human appointment setters are, the first thing is speed to lead, right? Because it works 24/7. Your human setter, he's going to have to sleep, he's going to have to eat, he's going to have to take a shower, take a whatever. So yeah, sometimes they won't be able to respond, which, happens. And it's okay, it's human, but speed to lead is very important. So if you can have, if you can message people as quickly as possible, then, ideally you might convert a few more people. So speed to lead is absolutely crazy with AI because it works 24/7. Now, again, you can kind of work around it with humans if you have multiple appointment setters working in different time zones. So you can still do it even with humans, but with AI, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You set it up, it works 24/7. And the next thing is volume becomes an absolute joke. Like, it can, some of these AI dialers can call thousands of people at the same time. They can message thousands of people at the same time. So volume becomes an absolute joke. Like, you can do tons and tons of outreach. You can have tons of conversations at the same time, something that, a human being would never be able to do. But again, where it's lacking is really like the sales skills, the persuasion, the like reading between the lines, the nuance, the tonality, really all those things, like handling complex objections, and like all these other things that we went over earlier. So at the end of the day, I believe, AI is not necessarily here to replace AI setters, but I believe if you have the right systems and if you have a good performing team of setters, then these AI appointment setters are really just a good addition to what you're already doing. So if you're already doing the fundamentals, which at the end of the day, the fundamentals are everything, whether that's in business, whether you're talking fitness, whether you're talking whatever, the fundamentals are always the most important thing. So if you can have the fundamentals down and you can have a good team of appointment setters that perform, then, a good AI dialer or a good AI appointment setter is just a good addition to something that's already working. And I think that's the main reason why you look at these like companies that sell these AI appointment setters. You look at Air.ai, they're using human setters. You look at some other companies, I won't mention names, where some of my friends used to work, that sell those AI dialers and those AI appointment setters, and they're using human appointment setters. And that's exactly why, because they are the first ones to understand that those systems, those AI appointment setters are good, but they're not necessarily good enough to completely replace human beings. And that's the reason why they don't just use their own product to book appointments, because they are the first ones that understand it, because they have it, right? Like they can see behind the scenes that it's good, but it's not necessarily as good as people think. So is it overhyped? If you ask me, in my opinion, it is. However, if you have good systems in place, it can be a good addition to what you're already doing to maybe increase speed to lead, add a little bit more revenue on top. So yeah, that was pretty much it for this video. Those are all my thoughts. Now, if you guys have any questions on appointment setting, or if you need any help, you can always reach out to me. I'll have my IG in the description down below, so you can always message me on there. Ask me any questions if you need any help or anything about appointment setting specifically. I'm always down to help. Or if you have any questions about something else, I'm always down to help. It will not be an AI appointment setter responding to you based on what I just spoke about for the last like 16 minutes. It's gonna be me talking to you. So yeah, go ahead, DM me there. I try to respond to everyone and give as much value as possible. So go ahead, DM me there. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to also leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.